release contracts with recurring items. SAP Ariba's contract compliance functionality enables your organization to model complex contract terms that you have negotiated with your suppliers. One such type of contract is a release contract with auto-generated purchase orders. These types of contracts contain terms that require a release or a purchase order in order to procure the material or service. Organizations typically use this type of contract for planned services when internal processes dictate the necessity of a purchase order. Supplier invoices can either be auto-generated, or you can allow suppliers to generate invoices based on the recurring purchase orders that they receive. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will assume that we are creating a contract for security guard services, and we will cover the key contract term fields related to creating the release contract with auto-generated purchase orders. If your organization has enabled the contract authoring functionality, you will access the contract terms document directly from the document section of the contract workspace. If your organization has not enabled the contract authoring functionality, you will create a contract terms document directly. In this example, we have the contract authoring functionality, so we will access the contract terms document from within the contract workspace by clicking the contract terms document and selecting Open. First, note that the contract terms document is a wizard with 9 sections on the left. The first section that we will configure is the definition section. The definition section will pull in the initial detail from the contract workspace, such as the contacts, effective and expiration dates, and the supplier. If you would like to change details that are not editable directly within the contract terms, you may update the information directly within the contract workspace. Now, let's review some of the key fields in the definition section. The contract type is an important field which defines the level at which the contract terms will apply. Item level contracts apply to the line items from a supplier. Commodity level applies to a specific category of spend from a supplier. Catalog level applies to a particular catalog of items from a supplier, and supplier level applies to all goods and material from the supplier. For this example, I will select an item level contract. The next key field is released required. This field specifies if a purchase order is necessary to buy from this contract. In this scenario of an auto-release contract for recurring payments, a purchase order is necessary, so we will select yes. Next, select yes for auto-release. This enables the system to automatically create releases or purchase orders on a recurring basis. Note that new fields appear. The auto-release preparer will be considered the owner of any automatically generated purchase orders. For this example, we will select Jean Hallis. The next field, suppress order, prevents the order from being sent to the Ariba network if set to yes. For this example, we are transacting with the supplier via the Ariba network, so we will maintain the default setting of no. Once you have completed the definitions, click Next. The next section is the limit section. In this section, you can define the minimum and maximum limits to purchase against the contract. You can also define approvers if the minimum or maximum levels are passed. Let's assume that this contract is a $250,000 contract and set the maximum limits to $250,000. Click Next and move to the pricing terms. The pricing terms section is where you can define the contracted terms for the items, commodities, catalogs, or supplier, depending on the contract type selected in the definition section. In this scenario, we selected an item level contract with auto release, so we will define the fixed and recurring contract terms at the item level. Click Add Items. First, enter a description of the material or service. In this example, we are creating a contract for security guard services, so we will add a line called Location 1 Monitoring. In the commodity code field, type guard services and click Search for more. Next, enter the amount. In this example, we will specify $35. In the release quantity field, enter a quantity of 320 and select a release unit of measure of HUR, which represents hour. At this point, we have specified that each purchase order will be for 320 hours at $35 per hour. Next, let's set the recurrence. In the recurring field, select yes. Now, you can specify the frequency that the purchase order should be generated and sent to the supplier. In this example, select month. You also have the option of auto-generating invoices or relying on the supplier to submit an invoice on a recurring basis, as well as the option to respect any existing auto-receive rules. Finally, confirm the start and the end date for the recurring releases and confirm the accounting data. If needed, continue to add additional fields and recurring fees to the pricing term. Once all the individual line items have been added, click Next. Optionally, enter milestones. This section is typically applicable for project-based work. Click Next. In the Access Control section, optionally define users that will receive notifications based on available contract limits. Click Next. In the Payment Terms section, define the payment terms to be applied to payments related to this contract. The tool defaults to your organization's default payment terms. Click Next. In the Appendix section, optionally upload supporting documents such as the actual executed agreement and click Next. Add comments if necessary and click Save. To make your contract active, click the link for the contract terms document and select Publish. Depending on your organization's approval rules, you may need approval before the contract is approved. To view the required approvers, click on the Approval Flow tab. Finally, click Submit once your contract terms are fully approved. The contract will be active and suppliers will be allowed to invoice against it. Thank you very much. If you need any more information about enabling categories of spend with the Ariba contract compliance functionality, contact your customer engagement executive or access connect.ariba.com.